Pedro from A&P-REACTS. I'm here today with Diamond of Tetrarch to talk about Unstable. I don't think either one of us is unstable, but we're here to talk about Unstable. Out April 30th on Napalm Records. How excited are you about this record?
Super excited because the record's been done since the beginning of 2020. So we've been kind of obviously wanting to get it out, and then the pandemic happened and everything. So it kind of slowed everything down, but we're really excited. The record's been done for a year, or over a year. So we're ready for everyone to hear it.
So for those out there that have been living either under a rock or perhaps live in the Galapagos Islands or Easter Island or whatever, a place where there's no Wi-Fi, no internet access, can you tell us a little bit about the band?
So basically we're a metal band. We just call ourselves a metal band. We are, I guess, get a lot of influence from early 2000s metal bands up until modern metal bands. We take a lot of pride in writing heavy music, but we also like big hooks and big choruses. So if you think of bands like Slipknot or Korn or Trivium or anything like that have a lot of focus on melody but also are heavy, that's kind of where we sit.
It's funny that you went with that. We call ourselves a heavy band because listening to the album, I was like, what category? If I worked at HMV or at those places that are not open anymore, where they would slot albums based on genres, I would have no clue where I'm going to put this record, because depending on which song I play, I get a different influence. Is this something that you guys are proud of? Like you don't want to be defined by a genre, you just want to be defined by the quality of your music?
Yeah, we don't want to be put in any box. If we want to write a song that's super heavy, we want to be able to do that, and people still know that's Tetrarch. But if we want to write a song that's really hooky and might be crossover kind of to the hard rock radio realm, obviously we're never going to be an active rock band, but you know what I mean, that can kind of cross over a little bit. We want to be able to do that too, and people still know that as Tetrarch. We don't want to be a band where it's if we don't write the heaviest song ever, people are like, or if we don't write a song that has, a giant chorus, people are going to be like, we want to be able to do both. So we definitely no song on the record is a copy of another. We just kind of want to establish ourselves as being a very well-rounded heavy band.
What do you feel is most challenging? Was it the debut record or the sophomore record?
Well, they were different, because with the debut record, there was literally we didn't feel any pressure at all. For the most part, we kind of just wrote what we wanted. We tried some new things, so we were a little nervous on Freak if they would go over well. And then this one, a lot of people say, oh, it's your sophomore record, so you have to feel a lot of pressure with that to follow up the first one. And the first one did really good for us, especially as an independent band and everything. But I think we had more confidence with this record. Going into this one, a lot more people knew who we were because of Freak. We knew that people were resonating with the sound that we had started developing. So they each had their maybe different challenges, but we were excited about both, and we weren't really worried about it. We just wanted to try to make the best product that we could.
What is the biggest growth that you see from that first record into this album?
I definitely think our songwriting has improved, as far as just writing bigger hooks. Lyrically, Josh improved a lot, just lyrically and vocal wise, his vocal style, just being stronger at screaming, being stronger at his singing voice in general. I think you can definitely hear growth there, and also just for me personally, my well-roundedness as a guitar player, just being able to write cool leads, but at the same time have songs where I might not have a solo, but I have those really creepy textures and stuff like that. Being able to do stuff like that, and then both be considered what Diamond Rowe would do is really cool. So I think we all individually grew, even Ruben and Ryan all individually grew as players on this record, and in turn we were able to write some pretty strong songs.
I felt like this album could be played from front to back to front, shuffle, any order you want, and the strength of the album doesn't go away. But do you look at that perhaps as a strength, or there's some weaknesses hidden within that style and that approach?
I don't think it could be a bad thing, you know, well, there's Josh. I don't think it could be a bad. I was like, well, yeah, there is. I don't think it could be a bad thing, you know. Like I feel like there's something on the record for everybody. So like, if you're a heavy person, you're gonna find something on there for you. If you're into catchier stuff, you'll find something. If you're into more tame stuff, you'll find something. So I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Like, you know, we do put a lot of thought into like the order of the songs when we're putting it together. But now in today's age, everyone listens on Spotify and on shuffle anyways. You know, it's kind of like, I think it's good that like no matter what order you play it in, it's gonna be, you know, good, because you never know what order anybody's going to play it in now. You know, it's more than likely not going to be song 1 to song 10. It's going to be starting with song 7. So, you know, you just never know.
I find it, for me, was an interesting aspect of the record, because I'm old school. I like to listen to an album from beginning all the way to the end. And normally when a record is a little bit like this, it feels a little bit broken. It feels more like a compilation than it does an album. Having said that, this album didn't feel that way. So to me, I was like, what the hell? I'm not supposed to like it, but I like it. So what the hell's going on here? Like, how do you merge the ability to create an album that gives you this diversity, allows you to play it in any format you want, but at the end of the day, the record still feels like a full album. It doesn't feel like just a bunch of songs thrown together. What's the essence of that?
Well, you know, it's interesting because like obviously we didn't set out for this to be like a conceptual album or anything like that. So it wasn't like where if you listen to like American Idiot by Green Day or something, where it's like all the songs flow into the next one and they tell a story. It wasn't really like that. But what we wanted to do was we wanted them all to have a similar feel and a similar energy and a similar angst, you know, like kind of theme, but not listening to the same song over and over again. So that's, I think, what the basic thing we tried to do is like we didn't want to box ourselves in. We wanted to keep the listener interested without them hearing the same song over and over again. You know what I'm saying? So I think in that for us was all about capturing the Tetrarch energy in every song, because there's a special energy that we feel we have, especially live, that we like to translate onto a record. And also about just like, you know, showcasing the different elements of ourselves, the strongest elements of ourselves, in the best way. So it's really hard to say. Like I said, we didn't want this to be any kind of concept album, nothing like that. We just wanted it to be. We didn't want any filler songs though either. Like that was like one of the mottos of this record when we started. That's why we took so long writing it. And picking the songs for it. We didn't want any song that we just threw in there because we were like, all right, we need a song 10. So like, let's just use this one. We wanted all of them to feel strong to us in some way or to add something to the record. So hopefully that has something to do with it too.
Has the creative process changed for you guys? And tell me a little bit about how does it work? Like, how do you guys divide the work around all of you?
Generally, it starts with like Josh and I. What like me or him will have a riff or a basic song structure idea, or even if it's like a melody or something like that. And either we'll hash out the whole. If we have like it in our brain, we'll hash out the whole thing and present it to the other one, or we might have a riff that's super good but don't know what to do with it, and I'll show it to him or he'll show his to me, and we help each other like come up with like a basic structure of the song. And then after that, if we feel that it has potential, we bring it into the practice space with Ryan and Ruben, and you know, we'll jam it out, or like we'll demo it out and have them come over, and put Ryan come over and put bass, excuse me, and Ruben come over and talk about what kind of drum parts he would want. And that kind of rounds it out and makes it like fully Tetrarch. But it generally starts with Josh or I like coming up with some sort of idea to get the ball rolling.
Now that you've had tons of time, I mean, the record you said was ready since like a year ago, so you've had a lot of time to look at this album and really digest the work that you guys have done. Do you feel like there's one element of the album that drives the record forward, or does this album live off of the quality of all the different pieces that come together to paint a much larger picture?
Um, it probably, it might be a larger pick. Like I feel like everything we've done adds up to what we do, like the experiences that we go through, the writing that we've done. Like we probably couldn't have written this record without the last one. You know what I'm saying? It taught us a lot. So while each piece of work that we do is you know, true to itself, and like we look at it as an individual body of work, it it's inevitable that we learn from each thing that we do.
Do you come into a record like this with a game plan as far as the guitar sound and what do you want out of the guitars?
Kind of. We always kind of have a vibe that we want with the record, and from that, I kind of know guitar wise what I want to do for it. Like this one, we knew like we wanted it to kind of be a little nostalgic, but I knew I wanted solos. I knew I wanted to do some of the creepy guitar sounds and the leads and stuff like that. So it does help going into writing. Like I have in my brain, okay, like is this a solo song? Is this a song that will sound really good with textures on it? So I know like how I want to present myself on a record usually before we start, and then I just incorporate that into the songs. Or obviously it could be, the song comes up itself and I start writing a song, and however it pops up, it pops up. So it's a little bit of both.
Sometimes a little bit organic, sometimes a little bit more of premeditated, if you will.
Exactly.
Was there a track on this album that drove you nuts above all others, that they gave you really a hard time, that you almost like, okay, we're not going to put this one on the record, let's just move on to the next one?
Let's see. Let me go through my head. Probably give you listen. On this album, actually, I don't. The closest one would have been "Trust Me," the last track on the record, which ended up being like a lot of electronics, which is something we had never done before. We had like a chorus, and that song changed like 8 times. First it sounded like this like Marilyn Manson-y type thing, and then it changed to some kind of sound like some of the Deftones. It was just a lot of stuff going on, and we at one point we were like, maybe we'll just throw this out. But like we were like, what? How about we try to make it kind of electronic based or whatever, and have a chorus, a weird solo, stuff like that. And it came out sounding super cool and being like a really cool vocal track. But there wasn't any like of the other ones on the record where I was like, this is just really annoying. I think like the solo for like Addicted or something, there was one of those songs where I was just like, oh my god, like I don't know what I'm gonna do with this. And obviously I'm a procrastinator, so I wait till the last minute. So that wasn't a good mixture either. But I think Trust Me was probably the one that got the closest to, we didn't know if it was even gonna make it at all, but I'm glad it did.
Now that you talk about the most challenging one, do you have a favorite one that you're really looking forward to playing live?
For me, it's probably "I'm Not Right." Like that's my favorite song on the record. It was the first single we released. It's my favorite chorus on the record. It doesn't have a solo, which is the only thing, but and I'm biased to that. But like, I love that song. It's probably my favorite on the record, and people resonate with that song really well. I think it's gonna go over awesome live. And Negative Noise. I think that's gonna be like an opener for us for the next little bit. So I'm excited about that one too.
Last question for you. What do you feel is the biggest misconception that people have either about the band or about yourself as a guitar player?
Ooh. I think it's interesting that people think that we set out to be like this big new metal resurgence kind of thing. While we're all fans of new metal bands, our favorite band, my favorite band next to Metallica is Korn, like, so while we all love those bands, we love Slipknot, we love Manson, we love Deftones, like those are our favorite bands. We didn't set out to be a new metal band. Like that's just not, we just wrote what we loved and that's what came out. So it's really funny when people are like, call us new metal or say like, you guys are like leading the new metal chart. That's sick. I'm whatever you want to say about us is cool, but like we definitely didn't set out to do that. It was just kind of like organically happened that way because we wrote what we love to write. So I would say as of late, that's probably like one that's really funny to us. Is like we see people like call us new metal and stuff, and we're like, that's just so funny because we never even really thought about that. So, but we're fine with it. We don't worry about titles or anything. So,
You know, to quote P. Diddy, there's no such thing as bad press. So as long as
that's what we say. Exactly.
as long as people are talking about you guys, it doesn't matter if they're telling you that you guys are making new metal great again. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day, as long as they're talking about you.
Exactly. That's what I think Metal Hammer or something asked us that. And I was just like, you know what? Like, they're talking about us, so they can say whatever they want. I don't really care. You know?
I think that's the right attitude to have.
Exactly.
Well, Diamond, thank you very much for your time today. This was a blast. Great to talk to you. Best of luck for you and everybody on the band with the release on April 30th on Napalm Records. Unstable. I think all of us perhaps are. I said we were not unstable, but I think considering the world around us, we're all a little bit unstable these days. So
exactly, which is okay. We get a little bit of a pass because everything's so crazy.
Exactly. So, all the best to you and everybody in the band. Best of luck with the release. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Talk
Bye.
soon.